Hey guys, Peter here. Today's video is going to be an introduction into the piano. Now, this video is really good for anybody, really of any age, who has decided, well, hey, I want to learn the piano, but I'm not sure exactly where to start. You know, I don't have a formal instruction. I don't have a teacher. So I'm going to be your teacher for today. And we're just going to start from the very beginning, starting with some notes, some hand positions, and a couple of checkpoints to really look out for, especially when beginning the piano. Make sure that we're developing technique from a very sound technique where we're not tense or anything like that, learning some notes and everything. And I'm even going to show you guys a few chords so you guys can start kind of playing kind of along the lines of some of your favorite pop tunes using some chords. And so we'll do kind of all of that in this lesson. It's going to be very jam-packed. Make sure you guys hit the little subscription button, hit the little bell so you guys get all the notifications when I post new videos, because I'll be doing these. I'll be doing quite a few of these, okay? And make sure you guys like it, okay? Let's get started. Okay, so first things first is let's learn the notes, okay? We have a bunch of keys, 88 to be exact. I have a full-size keyboard in front of me. And at home, you might not have a full-size keyboard. That's okay. Everything that we're going to learn today will apply to whatever keyboard you have at home. No matter if you have a full-size piano, great. If you have a shorter one, still okay. We're going to learn all of the notes, though, for the piano. Now, you notice I have 88 keys. But you'll notice, let's take a look at the black keys. You'll notice we have a group of 2 black keys and then a group of 3. Okay? And what's going to happen, it's just going to repeat up and down the keyboard. So we have a group of 2, then a group of 3. And then it'll repeat. Group of 2, group of 3, group of 2, group of 3, group of 2, group of 3. And the same thing down. 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2. And then one extra one over here, just we ran out of room, but it would be a group of 3 if we were to continue on with if the keyboard was somehow made bigger, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to learn the notes based on these groupings of 2 and 3. So go ahead on your keyboard at home, find any group of 2 black keys. It doesn't matter which one, because when it hits another group of 2, it's just going to repeat, and we'll see that here in a second. Find any group of 2, okay? And what we're going to do from here is find where C, the note C, is. Take a group of 2 and fall off directly to the left of that group of 2, and we have what we call a C. And you can find any group of 2, go directly to the left. Any group of 2, directly to the left, and that's our note C. Okay? Now before we move on, let's talk about our musical alphabet. And this is going to apply to any musical instrument that you ever decide you want to pick up. If you want to pick up trumpet, saxophone, bass guitar, guitar, it doesn't matter. The musical alphabet is the same for every instrument. Okay, and it goes as such. It's the first 7 letters of our alphabet. So the first A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And then, you know, we have 88 keys, but from there it's just going to repeat. Remember I said group of 2, group of 3, group of 2, it repeats, right? So those 7 notes will just repeat up and down the keyboard. So let's figure this out. We did our group of 2, and we found out where C was. Okay, imagine counting backwards in the alphabet to move down the keyboard, to get lower down the keyboard. C, we're just going to back up a letter in the alphabet, go to B, and then A. Okay, C, B, A. Let's start from this A, and let's count up the keyboard now, following our alphabet. Here we go. All the white notes is going to be where all the letters are. Okay, we're going to talk about the black notes in a little bit, but for now, we're just going to count up our alphabet using all white keys. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now remember, our musical alphabet only goes from A to G. So from here, once we get to G, we're going to repeat again. A, B, C. And notice when I ended up on that C, it's exactly one note to the left of the 2 black keys. And you'll notice if we keep going, and I'll keep going, you'll see that it'll still, every single C will be right next to those 2 black keys. Here we go. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. There we go again. And so on and so forth. So if you haven't seen this before and you haven't done anything with the piano, you're not sure quite where the notes are still, rewind it, stop the video, learn where all of the notes are on the keyboard. Again, I always go from C. I think it's one of the easiest notes to find because it's, again, right to the left of those two black keys. And if you need to, kind of stick some stickers up and put the letters on there, but use them for a very short amount of time. Learn them fast, memorize them, and then take them away. You don't want to use it as a crutch. So if we have that, let's go ahead and continue on, okay? We're gonna play a few notes, starting basically with this C, with this basic C, okay? So first things first, before we put our hands up, what I want you to do is go ahead and put your hands together like this, putting all the fingers next to each other, and I want you to go ahead and tap your thumbs. Okay, we're gonna call this 1, and these are our finger numbers. So finger numbers 1, tap your index fingers, those are finger number 2, tap middle fingers, those are 3, tap your fourth fingers, those are 4, and your thumbs are 5. Okay, and another way to think about it is starting with your thumbs, it's going to count outwards. 1 with our thumbs, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and you'll see these finger numbers in your music. When you start playing music, it'll have the little number on top of the note, and it tells you what finger number to play that note. Okay, so for now, we're going to start into what we call a C major 5-fingered position. Okay, and the 5-finger position is that it's called this because it's the first 5 notes of our C major scale. We're not going to get into that in this video. In later videos we will, but we're going to go over what the first 5 notes are so we know where to put our hand. Okay, so on your keyboard at home, go ahead and find any group of 2 black notes. Okay, find that C, and with your right hand, I want you to go ahead and put your thumb onto that C. Okay, now every other finger is just going to follow the next corresponding white note. So our second finger is going to be on D, third finger on E, fourth finger on F, and then our fifth finger on G. Okay, and so for now, with this hand position, just with our right hand, what I want you to practice doing at home is going from C, not skipping any fingers, going from C all the way through to G, and trying to connect each note together. Okay, and then once you get that, try to go back down from G, F, E, D, C. Now, very important, don't take this too fast at all, because there's going to be something that we're going to do with our hands to make sure that we don't have any tension. Okay, but try it at home. D, E, F, G, back down, F, E, D, C, being very, very deliberate with each note. Don't try to go too fast, because that's what ends up happening. And when I have students that try to go too fast, they haven't developed the coordination yet. So there's a lot of, and that's not what we want to hear. We just want to hear every note crystal clear. Okay, and then back down. Okay, good. Go ahead and practice that at home. We're going to do the left hand now. So the same 5 notes, but with the left hand now. Now, because our hands are mirror images of each other, it's going to be the same 5 notes, but the finger numbers are going to be backwards because now it's our left hand. So C, instead of our thumb, it's going to be our 5th finger, our pinky note on C. Okay? And we're going to try the same exercise with the left hand now. Okay? C on, let's go through it. Pinky on C, 4th finger on D, 3rd finger on E, 2nd finger F, and then our thumb on G. And let's go up the 5 notes the same way that we did with our right hand. Here we go, let's try it. C, D, E, F, G, and then back down. F, E, D, C. Okay? Pause this if you need to practice that. Very important to just practice these things very, very slowly. One thing that I want to make sure is not happening. I want to make sure that we're not holding each note as we're continuing on. Very important that every note is by itself. And one of the things that you can do at the beginning is actually put a slight separation to keep ourselves from holding them down. We don't want any notes to overlap. like that. Okay, and same thing with our left. If you need to, for the beginning, put just a slight separation between each note. Okay, and get the finger strength. And we want to use a little bit of our entire arm, and not just our fingers. Use your arm to really get the strength, especially if you're a little bit younger and you don't have the finger strength quite yet to play each note. Use your arm weight, transfer it through your fingers. Okay, now the goal with this is not to have any separation at all, but to play a note, and here's what we call legato, and it means to keep things smooth and connected. What we want to do is play C, play D, and as we play D, C actually comes up. Moving on, play it, and then the next note comes up, so that we only hear one note at a time. Okay, we want to eliminate, once we get kind of used to, if we have to separate at the beginning, that's fine, but we want to get used to just hearing one note connected without any separation of sound like that. Connection is the key here, is the goal, okay, with both hands. Now, when you start getting it hands together and hands separately, try putting them together. Again, slowly. Okay. All right. And again, make sure no overlap. Because on a piano, it'll really it'll ring through and you'll hear it. It'll get kind of muddy, a little muddy. Okay, we want to make sure that we don't have that. Now, checkpoint for our hands. Okay, making sure that we have relaxed hands. Okay, and I'm going to go through this pretty quickly here. One thing to look out for, and I see this a lot, especially with newer piano students, is the hands have a lot of tension. So watch what happens as I start playing with my hand. See how my hand gets raised and all my fingers are nice and high? Okay? I'm being very, very stiff with my hand. Okay? Now, one of the things that you want to make sure is that they curve. So go ahead and lift up your hand, kind of shake it out a little bit, and just let it relax. And you'll notice there's a nice little curve in your fingers. If your hands are tense, they'll be very straight. But if they're relaxed, your fingers have a nice curve to it. And go ahead and take that and just place it onto the piano. And if it stays relaxed, you notice your fingers should bend just a little bit more and has a nice roundness to it. If you're stiff, your fingers will be straight. Nice roundness, okay, and that's as relaxed as you want. Now, one of the things what happens a lot of times is this hand position gets good, but then when you start to play, all the fingers stiffen up. This is where practicing slow comes in a lot of handy. What I want you to do to practice keeping your hands relaxed is every note, what we're going to do is we're going to play the note, and I want you to just take your hand and take your other hand and lift it up from the wrist. If you can lift it up and your hand has that curve and maintains that nice relaxed curve, okay, you're just going to check yourself. You're going to play the next note. Does it relax? Lift it up. Does it relax? Next note. Okay? And you're literally going to do this with every single note. Okay? And the goal is to make sure that your hand does relax after you lift it up. If it's tense when you're playing and you lift up your wrist, your hand will come out looking clawish, right? But if it's relaxed, your wrist should collapse and your fingers should have that nice curve. Okay, again, if you're tense, especially if your fingers look kind of curved, but you're tense, your wrist won't bend. It won't collapse on itself. So this is a good way to check. First of all, if your fingers are stiff, again, your fingers will straighten out. But if your wrist is tense too, then when you lift up, your wrist won't collapse. And that's really something to look for. And you can practice this a lot on your own. Do it with both hands. I find this is a little bit easier with your more dominant hand. So if you're right-handed, it's a little bit easier to do this with your right hand. Practice it with your left hand. Make sure that every time you play, your hand goes back to relaxed, that normal relaxed position. Tense, relaxed, tense, relaxed. Okay? Your wrist should just come up. And once you start getting that coordination down and you can keep your fingers bent, another way to check is when you're playing, see if you can move your wrist around. If you can't, then it's going to get stiff and your fingers are going to lock and you won't be able to move your wrist. But if you can move your wrist in a circular motion as you're playing, that means your hands are relaxed. Okay? So this is another thing to do. Just play one note, roll your wrist 3 or 4 times. Play the next note, roll it again. Keep rolling it. And if you can do that consistently, very important, consistently, then there's a good likelihood that when you go to play, that you're going to keep your hands relaxed. Okay, so a couple of checkpoints. First of all, play one note, lift. Once you get that down with both hands, then start rolling your wrist. Now, you're not going to play all your notes as you're rolling your wrist, but you're just using this to check, to make sure that there's fluidity in your hand and it's not stiff. Okay? Now, we kind of did, we learned the notes, did a 5-finger position, just playing through some of these notes, right? And you want to practice just going up and then going down. Okay, and as I promised in the beginning, I want to get into some chords. Now, I'm going to teach you how chords are developed, okay? And then we're just going to learn some basic patterns using some of these chords, okay? So first of all, what is a chord, right? A chord is 3 or more notes played at the same time. Okay, and it could really go as many notes as your hand can play. I'm just playing some random notes here, but if you could take that and dissect it, you can analyze this because it has 3 or more notes. Now, probably more pleasing chord sound that you're used to hearing is something like this. Okay, chord, 3 or more notes played at the same time. All chords being based on skips. Okay, and I'll write this on the side so you'll see this here. Let's say I took that C major 5-fingered position, put my hands on those 5 notes, C, D, E, F, and G with my right hand. Okay, and we're going to do our right hand for now. Imagine I played C, and I just held it down. Then I skipped a letter, that D, and I moved to E. And then I skipped the next letter, and I moved to G. Now, I played all 3 of those notes together, I have myself a chord. Okay, I'm not going to go over what that chord is yet, but I want you to see that they're based on skips. And what I mean by skips, I mean letter skips. C, E, G, D, F, A. We're going to keep going up. Let's move it up. Okay, E, G, B. I'm skipping F and A. G, B, D. I'm skipping that A. F, A, C. I'm skipping G and B. G, B, D. Skipping those 2 notes. A, C, and E, and so on. Last one, B, D, and F. I'm skipping those letters. And important, when we start labeling these chords, even when we start getting to more advanced chords with sharps and flats, all of them are going to be based the same way. This is going to be based on those skips. If I have some sort of C chord, no matter what type of C chord it is, it'll be analyzed with some sort of C, some sort of E, and some sort of G. Okay? Now let's back this up and apply this to what we've learned already. So, first chord that we're going to learn is we're going to learn a C chord. And when I say C and I don't put a label after it like minor, we're going to assume that it's major. It's always assumed that it's major. So if I say a C chord, it means C major, okay? C major chord, it's going to have C, E, and G in it, okay? Let's learn a couple of the other chords that we'll use to kind of play in these different patterns. The next one we're going to learn is an F chord. Now again, I said F chord, I didn't say F minor, so because I said F chord, it means it's going to be major. It's going to have the quality of a major chord. F, A, and C. Next chord we're going to learn is G chord, again G major, G, B, and D, okay? And the last chord we're going to learn is A minor. Now notice I said A minor. Now listen to the quality of sound here, A minor. It's a little bit different than that major sound that we heard from the previous three, right? Hopefully you can hear it. If not, that's okay. I'm teaching you the chords as for what they are, not by sound, so that's okay. A minor is A, C, and E, okay? And we can take these chords and just kind of move around, okay? F, G, and A minor. Okay, and you can play these, and one of the things you can do at home is just practice doing these. Now, when you practice moving these around, and you can make some decent songs out of these if you just take them and move them around in whatever order you decide. A minor, I did A minor, G, F, C. Okay, and what your left hand is going to do, okay, your left hand is going to play the note that corresponds to the chord that you're playing. So the one note, if I'm playing a C chord, I'm going to play a C in the bass. You see that? So I have C major with my right hand. I have the note C in the bass. If I move to F chord, I'm going to move to F in the bass. G chord, I'm going to move to G in the bass. And A minor, I'll play an A in the bass. Now, we have a lot of notes in the bass clef, and I want to be clear, once you get comfortable moving these around, know that with your left hand you can pick any one of the C's or any one of the F's or any one of the G's that you want to. So let's give an example. Say I move to C and I play an F chord here. What I did before is I moved up to F, but know that you can play this F down here as well. You can move to this G, or you can play this G. You can move to this A. You can play any one of those that you choose. That's going to be completely up to you. Okay. Now we learned some of these chords. We just learned the 4 of the basic chords within this key. The next video we will elaborate on that and maybe show some more of the chords within this key, also dealing with inversions. Now, if you want to learn some more about this key, or maybe some other keys, maybe you're more advanced, you get to the end of this and you're like, okay, I know some of these chords already, how do I apply it to a song? If you go check out the website Back to the Basics, I do have a lot of videos on there of different keys, and I take the different keys and I apply a different song to each of the keys. Okay, pop songs that you know. Whether it's, I have some Ed Sheeran on there, I have some Taylor Swift stuff, some pop stuff. I think I even have some Sam Smith on there. Go on there, check it out. If you see anything that you like, feel free to get it. Again, backtothebasics.com. I'll leave the link down below so you can go check that out. I will be doing some more things again with inversions and stuff in the next videos, and possibly even talking a little bit more about the sharps and applying some different sharps and flats to the keys. Okay, guys? Thank you guys so much for being here. If you haven't done it already, make sure you go and hit the subscribe button. Click the little notification bell so you guys get the notifications when I post a new video, because I'll be doing a few of these. Okay? And until next time, bye.